What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Well, ICP is starting to have a very interesting moment here for its price that I wanted to cover with you today, kind of take you through what's happening, why it's so important, and what you should be on the lookout for next. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. And guys, don't forget, if you do want to start trading a little bit of Bitcoin, Solana, Sweet, and many more today on all the way up to 500x leverage, you can use that BTCC link down below. If you do use my link specifically on this landing page, they're going to give you a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits between $500 and $100,000. This means that if you deposit, say, $4,000, they're going to give you $400 on the spot to start trading with. Whatever profit you make from that $400 is all for you, no strings attached. This is literally an opportunity to make free gains during a bull market on a very good platform. So if you want to go check that out, of course, I will leave the link down there for you, and you can go check it out yourself. So before we get into what exactly is happening with the actual price right now, let me give you a bit of context so you can start to see the picture that I'm trying to paint here. So over the last, year, 2 years roughly, ICP's had quite a bit of a rough go. We had obviously this massive downtrend, finally started to gain some momentum into this year, and around March it did put in this peak before capitulating back towards the downside, putting in some losses this year of, 60, 70%, leading a lot of investors to be a little bit skeptical, of course, what the long-term future looks like. I'm starting to see now a lot more doubt than I've ever really seen before from ICP, and I think it's just because a lot of people got their hopes up about this. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be the moment where it starts to push back up towards, $50 or $100 and all these things. And when it wasn't, and it just fell 70%, a lot of people lost a little bit of hope, but I personally haven't. Now, the reason why I haven't is, in my opinion, I think this is a great setup. I think it is creating a long-term macro sustainable setup that will allow its price to find a, floor, find a foundation, and continue upwards. Now, the general thesis that I have is that this is being built on top of the Fibonacci golden zone, and I've talked about this a ton. The fact that we saw ICP come up, pull back towards the downside, and immediately hit this golden zone to start building some support, use that support, whether you want to call this a cup and handle pattern or not, but use it to create some structure that has now broken it towards the upside, I think is a very bullish setup. I would actually be willing to say that if we are capable of really seeing this support hold and us to maintain this level here, that we could use this to see ICP's price push up towards $40 to $50. Now, of course, that is still a 4x or a 5x, a couple hundred percentages in gains, which may seem a little bit out of the picture, but I don't believe so. I think that this is a fantastic setup to get up there, and historically speaking, when you can build support on top of a macro Fibonacci golden zone, it can provide the perfect amount of foundation, the perfect amount of support to make a move of 400 to 500% to the upside. And so because of that, I have been tracking a lot more closely what's going on with this move and how things are progressing in this move, because as I mentioned before, if this support does hold and if this breakout is successful, I truly do believe that 40 or 50 bucks could be on the way. Now, I'm not saying that's the top, right? It could go higher than that, but that's just my general local regional top. Okay, that's what I think. Now, as we have been tracking this breakout for ICP, as it has been making that move that we're looking for, what we've come to recognize is that it's running into a bit of a battle, right? It's seeing a battle right now. I told you all not too long ago that you needed to be very careful, because if we go from the top side golden Fibonacci zone, what we can see is that ICP was running directly into this golden ratio to the top side. Now, just like the golden ratio on the bottom side will serve as support, golden ratios to the top side will serve as resistance. And in a moment like this, I told you to be careful, right? We just broke to the upside. We're about to run into a major zone of resistance. There's a chance we pull back or correct or cool down. And well, that's exactly what we've gotten. And so now what I want to dive into a little bit today is what's happening now that this back test is occurring, what's happening while this back test is occurring, why this is so important, and what, like I said in the title, why is this like the moment of truth, okay? And so with all of that said, now that you have a good recap of what we've been seeing, what we've been going over, and what we're expecting next, let's talk a little bit more in depth about what's happening now. Now, I will warn you, some of the things I'm about to say now that we're about to move forward a little bit are going to be a little bit complicated and confusing, especially if you're newer to the space. So all I ask from you is, if you are someone who is new to the space and you're just trying to get better at this whole crypto thing, or if you're on the other side of the spectrum and you're already advanced but you're just trying to add more tools to the toolbox, all that I ask you is to just stick around to the end of the video. At the end of the video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're doing over in the Discord server, because all of these lessons and classes and coaches and signals and all of these things that we're providing here are generating our community hundreds of percentages in gains every single day. Even on days like yesterday where everything was falling, we had members dropping 200, 100, 200, 300% gains on a consistent basis. So again, if you're someone who wants to just get better at this whole crypto thing, all I ask from you is to stick around at the end of the video. So as I mentioned before, now that you've gotten a good recap of what is going on, let's talk about what's happening in this pullback right here. So what we can see is that ICP is actually having a fantastic reset. As you can see, what we got, look, the daily RSI, boom. This bad boy went from all the way overextended at the 83% threshold and it's pulled all the way back down to currently the 45% threshold. Now, historically, the daily RSI resetting like this is oftentimes a major implicator that we are seeing a macro cool down, a macro reset, or a macro pullback, whatever you want to say. But at the end of the day, what it generally means is that this isn't like the end of the world. It's quite simply all of these different, things, indicators, signals, flashers, all of them just starting to reset a little bit, allowing for the cool down necessary to build up the liquidity to continue upwards. So this is a fantastic sign that we're getting the cool down that we need. If we look at something like the 4-hour RSI, as we are seeing ICP's price pull back towards $11.50, we can see that the 4-hour RSI is now in the oversold region for the very first time since November 3rd of 2024. The last time that this happened was the day before we saw ICP's price push up 124%, and the time before that was the time right here, right before we saw ICP's price push up 40%. So the last 4 or 5 times that you'll come to realize when the 4-hour RSI was this low, we saw ICP's price start giving a beautiful bounce to the upside. You look at something like the hourly RSI. Let's even dive even deeper. The hourly RSI, this thing is starting to give us bullish divergence. As you can see here, we set in that new lower low here on the hourly charts, but we have set the higher low here on that 1-hour RSI. That's called bullish divergence, and that starts to imply that as ICP's price is pulling back a little bit, it is losing that bearish momentum that has been forcing it downwards, oftentimes implying that some sort of reversal upwards could be on the way. And so with that in mind, although this pullback does feel scary and it does feel like a bad thing, I would actually go ahead and say that this is like the perfect pullback. Like, this is the perfect cool down. Everything that we need to see reset is resetting. Everything that we need to see cool down is cooling down. You look at something like your daily Bollinger Bands for even more of an example. We have already seen this thing fall below that 20 simple moving average. Now, oftentimes when you lose the 20 SMA, you are going to try to interact with the bottom side of the Bollinger Bands. So there is an argument to be made that we could see ICP's price come down a little bit lower, but think about the fact that we were so overextended previously, and now just after a couple days, we're already back towards that point of neutrality. All of these things mean to me that although we are seeing ICP's price pulling back, it's not that bad. And it's very likely that ICP is going to try to find some support and use that support to try to continue to the upside. Now, this is kind of getting into the reason why I named this video something along the lines of like, this is the moment of truth, or you need to see this, right? The reason why I'm saying that is because now that we are seeing this pullback happening, and now that this perfect cool down is occurring, we're actually finally seeing ICP's price interacting with one of its VPOSs. Now, a VPOS is a viable point of support. It's a level where you would assume that a crypto can find support and use that support to try to bounce upwards. Currently, from a macro sense, I have 2 VPOSs for ICP. The very first one is going to be this red box laid out right now between about $10 and $10.93. And the second one is going to be the golden Fibonacci zone towards the bottom side, which is currently laid out between $9.30 and $8.12. So what I want to actually go ahead and do is draw in this golden Fibonacci zone, make this gold. Let's do it like that. And then let's go ahead and just get rid of this. So what we have for ICP are 2 VPOSs. These are the 2 levels that I assume that ICP is going to try to find some sort of macro support, or that it at least needs to find some macro support and use it to continue upwards. Because if ICP loses both VPOS number 1 and viable point of support number 2, we're going to be much more likely to be in a position in which all of these, this entire thesis that I'm building, that ICP is creating a support level to continue upwards, may become to get invalidated. It's not definitely going to get invalidated. Sure, there could be an argument to be made that we are going to see, an ABC correction. Then it's going to find a higher low somewhere down here, back around $5, and then try to continue upwards. But I'm not so confident in that. If we do see all of this support loss, especially in a time period like this in the world of crypto, making lower lows than the lows that we had from this summer would be quite concerning. And so because of that, we don't want to see these 2 VPOSs lost. And so what this means for ICP is that it is now in a critical moment. Okay, this is a crucial moment to where if it's unable to hold one of these support levels, things start to get a little bit more grim. I would say that that is a little bit more concerning, and things wouldn't be looking too good. Maybe we would have a pretty consistent downtrend on the way, or some sort of just loss of bullish momentum, and that's just not good for ICP holders, including myself. And so because of that, my general thesis and thought process here is that we need to be watching this very closely. Now, personally speaking, I'm rather confident that ICP is going to find some support between one of these two VPOSs and then use that support to try to continue upwards. Is it going to be successful? I don't know. We'll know a lot more about that whenever we get there, but I do believe that we're going to try to bounce to the upside, especially just thinking, again, like the 4-hour being so oversold, your Bollinger Bands, all those things, right? It's just likely that the bulls are going to step in at some point soon and try to push upwards. And the fact that we are at a VPOS does make a lot of sense as to why we are so overextended to the downside, because usually whenever you do see yourself run into a major point of support, you are usually aligning that perfectly with when you're getting oversold to the downside, then you get a push upwards right off that support zone. And so my current strategy is somewhat hoping but thinking that we are going to see this VPOS hold as support and then use this support to continue upwards. And so my current game plan is to actually do a little bit of buying on ICP in the red zone and then a lot more buying if we hit the golden zone. I'm pretty confident in the sense that we are in the idea that we are going to at least try to bounce upwards, as I mentioned before. So I would be doing a little more buying if we hit the golden zone than I am doing in the red zone, but both of them will be pretty sizable, just again considering the thought that it may happen. And so overall, of course, it is a gamble, it is a guess, it is a bet, and at the end of the day, I may be wrong, and I hope you understand that. I might be wrong. ICP quite simply might just do this and continue back down towards $4 or $3. We lose the lower lows, we set new yearly lows. I personally just don't know why that would happen. Entering into a pro-crypto environment, being further removed from all of the stuff that's happening in the Middle East, seeing a lot of kind of calming down to some degree in the Russia-Ukraine situation, the economy seemingly doing okay, it being holiday season, I can't see a reason as to why we would see ICP's price fall below the lows we put in this year. It doesn't make much sense to me. And so because of that, I'm not expecting that. I don't think that's going to happen, but again, I could be wrong. And so I wouldn't be going out here, putting my entire cash savings in the red box and the gold box, just a decent enough size purchase that it'll make a difference if I am right and we do see ICP's price start moving upwards. And so that's my general thesis. That's kind of what I'm thinking and hoping and expecting will happen. And so I wanted to share that with you today. And so as the days do go by and as we do start interacting more and more with the red box and the gold box, I'll keep you as updated as possible on the progress and what is happening. So of course, do make sure that you stay tuned and make sure that you watch this red box extremely closely. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you were somebody who's just simply trying to get better at this whole crypto thing, what I want you to do is check out the Discord server. Now, in order to get access to the Discord server, guys, it is the cost of a Netflix subscription or cheaper, either $17 a month or $5 a month. And when you do sign up over on Patreon, in that link down below, you're going to get access to this Discord server, which comes with Insights with Tyler, where I give my thoughts and ideas and insights about things. Sometimes when I'm buying and selling, changes to my portfolio. Sometimes it's just general advice on things that I'm seeing in the market. You get daily technical analysis on your favorite cryptos every day. You get fundamental analysis on the actual market itself. We have 2 teams of professional traders who are posting their buy and sell signals every single day. And remember, these are pro teams. So all of they're living their livelihood in order for them to eat relies on them making good trades. So you can learn directly from them and see the things that they're doing. We just had Pro Trade Team 2 knock in a 136% gainer this morning, which was sweet. We have this exclusive show, Crypto Vault Live, every single day, Monday through Friday at 12, where Crypto Moses takes you through the market exclusively just for Discord members. We have premium classes on things like the Bollinger Bands, the Fibonacci, bull market investing. We have live workshops with coaches. We actually have one in 5 days, I believe. Yep, 5 days on December 15th, where we're going to be going a little bit deeper into altcoin investing. We have beginners courses on things like technical analysis for beginners, leverage trading for beginners. These are 30-minute long classes, guys, that go through all the basics. It has vocabulary, cheat sheets, 18-page presentation, 20-page presentations, all types of stuff. And then tips with Tyler, which are just these little 2-3 minute long videos on random things, such as how I take profits, setting up my Fibonacci's, and much more. Now, on top of all of that, you have access to the community, where premium members can ask questions directly to myself and some of the other 6 coaches in the server who answer them every single couple hours. And then, of course, all of that has been contributing to building a community that is printing gains, because our whole goal is to cultivate a community of people who are trying to just get better at crypto. So all of these lessons we're teaching are developing into strategies for people, and these strategies are printing them. Hundreds of, this is just yesterday, on a terrible day like yesterday, people were still printing hundreds of percentages of gains, and that just goes to show the resiliency of the server. And so if you want to be somebody who is elevating like all all of these people are. We have over 700 members just within the last month. So if you want to become part of that and you want to start printing some gains yourself, again, all that I ask from you is to just go check out that Discord server down below, because it is the cost of a Netflix subscription or cheaper, and I think that's great value. So of course, let me know what you think down below, and if you have been enjoying these videos every single day, 8, 9 videos a day, please do let us know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. But I do have a couple more videos planned for today, so make sure that you stay tuned for those, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.